Yeah, a lot of GTA on my channel lately, but can you blame me? I'm a fan of the franchise, and boy, today we ended up getting a exclusive look on Netflix. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I actually streamed this earlier a little bit, blew my load, talked a lot about it, yapped, and I wanted to get my thoughts out here as crystal clear as they kinda are. The gameplay looks great. The game looks great. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, I wasn't really impressed. Oh, my load wasn't blown away. I can't say that the wait for the PC version is necessarily super easy, but I have a couple things that I want to say about this, okay? So first off, it's about a 24-minute reveal, 26 minutes on Netflix. And basically, long story short, it's basically consisted of, I would say like 3 to 4 points. It's got like 3 to 4 different missions that one can see. So I want to start off with saying the graphics in the game look great. Okay, visually speaking, I think it looks about as good as the last two trailers, if not better. The amount of people on the screen is massive, and it's not just the amount of people on the screen that are massive. The NPCs and the groups that they're kind of hang around in, the interactions the NPCs have, is fucking insanity. I was reading online, obviously, the more and more this came out, there were apparently like 600,000 something animations GTA 6 actually had, apparently in their production, to make all these NPCs seem much more alive. So basically, the beginning of this starts off with you going to like a crack house or like a crack apartment. You're there to pick up some cocaine, and basically, it's kind of like this big walkathon. I would say that a lot of this game has that Sony cinematic movie vibe, but it's intermixed with gameplay, and when the gameplay does show up, it looks pretty damn good. The gunplay looks pretty solid. It's got weight to it. The weapon wheel is absolutely limiting this time. It's not where you can have all like classes of guns on you at any given moment. No, you pretty much only have a pistol on you, and you can pick up a shotgun or assault rifle, maybe sling it on your back. But yeah, it's designed to be much more realistic, similar to the way Red Dead Redemption 2 handled it. And overall, yeah, visually it looked great. Sound design was pretty solid. I would say overall, yeah, felt like a fucking great experience, to be real with you. Then the game kind of cuts to a bunch of like shots of you sort of like experiencing the remainder of the world. There's a lot of focus the game has on its relationship system. So Jason and Lucia, the two protagonists, are romantically involved. And based on the stuff that I've read from Rockstar releasing information, you apparently like can build up this relationship as much or as little as you want. Apparently, you can just ignore the whole relationship like concept, and the game will punish you and move the story in a different direction if you do that. Whereas if you hang out with her all the time, obviously the story is presented a little bit differently. There's a lot of talk that Rockstar's put out that says there is apparently going to be a focus on replaying the game. So again, looking at the idea of like previous Rockstar titles like GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, where anytime you deviated from like the mission, you would just effectively get punished. The game would just give you a mission fail screen and you would just be sent back to the previous checkpoint. So I'm kind of hoping, thankfully it seems that in this game, Rockstar is allowing you to, I don't know, treat it like a sandbox. Walk around, make a few differences, make some changes. If Rockstar tells you you have to steal that specific car and get away from the police, here it seems like they've kind of opened it up, they've loosened the grip on your neck, and they've basically said, listen, have a little bit more fun. Again, there's stuff that needs to be further confirmed. But yeah, overall, I would say it's a pretty interesting system. The world design, the world detail is through the roof. So towards like the beginning, after you get out of the crack house, you're in a house where Lucia like asks you to pick a dress. And I'll tell you right now, the actual relationship dynamic is pretty upfront and real with you. Like you have to actually pick like, she'll ask you what dress, but really she's not going to pick any dress she just showed you. She's going to pick something else. When she says, in a minute, I'm gonna get ready, you can tell her to hurry up, which I wish they did in the extended gameplay reveal, because I would have loved to see Jason's head get blown off through the door, because you never tell someone to just hurry up when you're getting ready to go somewhere. You just sort of take it, you tank it. So obviously you could open up the fridge, basically pick out every different item you wanted, kind of like if it's Mafia 2, where there's like a level of world interactivity, which when you have these small things like picking a beer out of the fridge, watching some television, picking your nose, scratching your ass, all these things when you cumulatively put them together, does give the world extra life, extra believability. So then the next like sort of mission kind of happens where you meet up with, I think it's like Raul, one of the, professional heisters. And basically, it shows you driving away from a police chase. And during this police chase, obviously Jason gets out of the fucking like window, starts like laying down gunfire. And yeah, the police chase looked pretty damn fucking good. In fact, not even just that, just the driving alone felt really interesting. Obviously, it's difficult because I won't be able to understand that until I play the game. Like, is it as simulation as GTA 4? Is it as arcadey as GTA 5? From what I've heard, it's somewhere in the middle. Now, again, furthermore, I think what's more interesting about this is sort of the focus on life simulation, the sort of realistic aspects. As you all know, role-playing is a huge big deal in the GTA community ever since like FiveM took off as crazy as it did. And before that, you had things like SAMP, yada yada yada. But here, it seems like there's more of a focus put on the world responding to you. Like in previous GTA games, I'll be honest with you, one of the things that really fucking pisses me off is the fact that you could rob a gas station and you could drive like 10 minutes, and as long as you lost the cops from the search radius, you would basically be able to, just get away scot-free. Now, I think there's a lot of gamers in the GTA community that frankly will find what this game is doing to be annoying, where it's going to be so in your face, so focused on that realistic aspect. There's going to be a lot of people, streamers, who play this game casually and are like, why do the cops always track me? Now, if you look into this game, anytime the cops track you, the game now puts like a bunch of icons underneath the wanted rating, where these icons denote that they've identified one protagonist, they've identified both protagonists, they've identified your face, they've identified your clothing, they've identified your vehicle. And so every time you commit a crime, it seems like in order to truly get rid of the cops, you have to actually lay low, you have to change your clothes, you have to change your car, you have to actually like move around the world knowing full well that once you've committed a serious crime, the Vice City Police is not going to let you just walk away casually. You have to actually kind of get immersed into the world. And that's the thing that I actually really enjoy about these kind of games. I don't want GTA to be a game where I just get away with things easier, right? I've been playing these games since I was like a kid. And, all the way from the top-down GTA games to what we're seeing here, the evolution of the world and how it responds to you is almost as important as the cars themselves, right? Like, you want a world where not only do the NPCs freak the fuck out when you pull out a gun and they kind of like start backing away, some might start calling the cops, some might, like literally just try to fight you. I want there to be unique responses given to you. I want there to be a situation where when I whip out a gun, the only way the cops get called on to me is if they see me holding it or somebody calls it in. Now, what I've discussed over here, where the actual like cops are tracking all these little tiny things, is not something new. A lot of this stuff feels deeply inspired from games like Mafia, which I really enjoy. I like games like Mafia. I think they're awesome titles. But I don't think it's going to easily translate for everybody, right? Like, I think that there's going to be a lot of casual gamers that when they play this game and they're going to be like, bro, you're telling me I can't just speed in front of cars? You're telling me I got to switch clothes? You're going to tell me I need to do this, this, and this? Why can't it be this easy? I think this path going forward is going to be pretty important, and I'm glad that Rockstar's kind of sticking their guns here. They want you to get immersed into the world. They want you to realize that you're not some godly figure that can hold 35 different types of assault rifles and lay siege to the world without it actually responding back to you. They showed 6 stars, which means that eventually, down the road, I hope the military actually starts attacking you, similar to the older games, if you reach that 6-star wanted rating. I want the game to be very punishing if I go on a mass murder spree on the densely populated beaches. Now, when it comes to the actual visual design, I can't stop telling you guys how much NPC variety and density there actually is. It seems like what we saw with trailer 1 is actually coming to real life fruition. Like, this is going to be a very, very packed experience. This is going to be one of those GTA games that is worthy of the next numeral title. Obviously, listen, I don't want to like gas this game up too hard, but based on what Rockstar has shown us, everything seems very much elevated. Everything that is present in GTA 6 is something that, obviously, I think GTA 5, even to this day, I feel like is much better than even other open worlds that still release in 2026, 2025. But looking at something like GTA 6, just what the approach they're going with, the density, the way the world reacts to you, these are things that are going to kind of set itself apart. Now, the last half of the gameplay was pretty cinematic, And it was one of these, it was definitely a bit of gameplay where it was mostly a movie. Like you were just going from cutscene to cutscene. There were some shootouts here and there. And I don't know how necessarily I feel about all this. I'm not so inclined with the whole movie game. But then again, I've also heard that this game is 80 hours long, which makes it arguably like the longest GTA game like apparently ever fucking made. You know what I mean? And that's just the main storyline. And from what I gathered out of this trailer, from this extended look, is that the main story is the main story, but there's going to be a lot of focus, I feel, on things like Strangers and Freaks, side quests, side content. It seems like a pretty good time in that regard. I think it seems like the direction Rockstar Games is taking with this title is one where I think they know that they have a whole new generation to work with. They're working with the PlayStation 6. There's a lot more these systems can do when it comes to world simulation. And they just want to make a world that is much more realistic, much more punishing, much more grounded than even like Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, that being said, I think a lot of the life sim stuff that we saw, where you could pick up every individual bottle, you could, interact with all these kind of NPCs, the world would react to you in such a manner, is kind of a playground, a test bench for what is eventually GTA Online 2. I think that's one of the avenues. Like, this game is kind of built, I think, for the idea of eventually becoming like a sort of life sim roleplay experience. I think GTA Online 2 is going to like really dip into the roleplay that we saw in things like 5M, which is exactly why the single player here for now has those features already baked in, right? A lot of what makes GTA Online currently so fun and addicting for people is that at the core, GTA 5 is a really good game. It's really a good foundational experience, and to build on top of it makes it easy when the core project is actually so fucking good. Now, all that aside, ladies and gentlemen, what are the downsides that I'm noticing to this game? And there are a couple. For one, the minimap is kind of dog shit. I don't like the minimalist design where it seems like it's kind of zoomed in. During a police chase, it almost feels as if like it's completely unreadable because the red and blue flashes make it so that I can't it's difficult for me to pay attention. I can't really see it. Now, I'm hoping that maybe the UI can be expanded on a little bit. Maybe there's different options. Maybe it's like Red Dead where you can pick between like minimal, expanded, radial, all these different options. And I'm just kind of waiting to see if that's sort of the case. The visuals. I think the graphics look great, but again, with all the effects that are going on, it's definitely a game that for the consoles, even if you go all the way up to the PS5 Pro, I'd be a betting man and say that this game is locked exclusively to 30 frames per second on the consoles. And from what I also hear, things like first person aren't a part of the game. And I think that's a bit of a letdown for me because one of the things that I was really hoping for in this was to be in first person viewpoints and look at the various interior details of all these cars. The leaks didn't show that. The actual extended gameplay didn't show that either. I'm hoping somewhere in the final release, maybe that'll not be an afterthought. Because generally, I think the outside of the vehicles look important, but cars are kind of the lifeblood of what GTA is. I mean, that's literally in the name. You are stealing cars. The cars are an important focus. And I feel like it would be kind of a letdown if every different car brand, which is represented so faithfully on the outside, doesn't exactly look like the interior parts when you switch cameras. Like, I want to sit inside a Benefactor and feel the parody version of a Mercedes. I want to sit inside a Vapid Dominator and feel the parody version of a Ford Mustang. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that I find very important. These are things that, again, I want to see them be represented. The game looks beautiful. But again, it's going to be, I think, a 30 frames experience, which means that eventually the PC version, when it does drop, and also the next generation versions, should contain things like path tracing, right? You know, extra visual bells and whistles that'll make the game look even prettier than where it's already at. And again, ultimately, the end of the day, too, I think that come November, the game that Rockstar is dropping looks to be pretty damn good, okay? I think the storyline is interesting. I like the dynamics between both main characters. I think the world is definitely much better than what GTA 5 was ever able to do. And I mean, obviously, that's a PlayStation 3 game at its core. This is a PlayStation fucking 5 game. And, I would hope that it's a genuine, actual, real improvement. The world, the map looks fucking huge. The leaks that we saw literally do not put this game, like, they don't do justice, is all I can really say. The game that we've seen so far in this Netflix reveal looks to be great. And ultimately, the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, that's really all I kind of have to say. GTA 6 has been a very impressive showcase. I think it was well worth the wait to see the actual gameplay. And now that I've seen the gameplay, I think I can kind of relax a little bit. I mean, I've seen what the user interface looks like. I've seen what the interaction looks like. I've seen the world interactivity. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, I think it's down to, I think the only thing left to see is if what Rockstar has shown can translate to all the consoles come November, right? Because what they've shown here is just running on a base PS5. And it makes sense, right? You can definitely see the errors. You can definitely see a lot of blurriness in the distance. Like, what they've shown here is definitely real footage that hopefully will be improved upon by the time this game actually releases. And I'm glad that Rockstar did show a lot of the issues too, like ray tracing wasn't totally perfect, the frame rate, it was 30 frames, the resolution was definitely blurry, especially if you play like PC games and you're able to notice these things at the distance I'm at right now. But I'm glad that Rockstar showed that as opposed to like, you know, CD Projekt Red or any of these other companies where, you know, they'll show you like a 4K 60 frame like footage project, but the actual reality is the game is nowhere near that. And then when you come to the final release day, the letdown is even harder. So yeah, ultimately I will say GTA 6 looks good. And what sucks here, and I'll say this much right now, it makes the physical copy hurt that much harder because look, I have physical copies for games that are complete dog shit, but at least I own them. With this, it does suck that for now, there isn't ever going to be like a physical release for this title. And maybe I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this game is looking to be like a 200 to 300 gigabyte bastard. So just alone on the PS5, I can only imagine 2 to 3 discs to have this game running. And then I think even more for the base Xbox. So I think, like, honestly, Rockstar probably, like, had to chop that out of their, like, financial, like, indie company Rockstar, indie publisher Take-Two had to think about that. And then, obviously, I can imagine with the amount of hype and the sales this game already has, I'm sure that Sony was also pretty happy, and Microsoft as well, that they don't have to have that many Blu-ray discs pressed for the final release. But it does suck, man. I mean, when a game is this good, it hurts even harder. And ultimately, at the end of the day, look, I think the game is great. I think that people in November are going to have a great time playing this game. And as a GTA fan, I want this shit to be successful. It looks good, and I'm glad it looks good, right? Because who the fuck wants a bad game, right? Who wants a game to be bad? We all want a game to be good. And it seems like GTA is going to be good. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like it if you dislike it, I am out.